President Trump is keeping his promise once again of cleaning out the deep state by firing, as a good start, 17 inspectors general at multiple federal agencies. Did that all last Friday night. Happy weekend. The move triggers panic, of course, among the previously untouchable government officials, with one of the fired bureaucrats calling the firings a massacre. It's the Friday Night Massacre. They always do the Friday Night Massacre stuff. And Jason, 17 inspectors general lose their jobs at, like $2.5 million to go.
Well, I think one of the problems here is there was protocol in order to fire an IG, and it is that they need 30 days notice and they need a reason to fire them. You don't just fire them because the reason that you have IGs is that they're supposed to stand above politics and not necessarily be partisan one way or the other. Mm-hmm. You don't install loyalists in the position of an IG, but in the reshaping the Project 2025 vacation of our government, that's what looks like it's going to happen. It seems like just follow the protocol. Find a reason to fire people, and if they don't have a reason, then you cannot fire them.
Well, there is no Project 2025 to speak of, a Heritage Foundation subgroup, and it's not part of the administration. And that's classic government stuff. Oh, no, you can't fire a government employee when you're the President of the United States because they've got unions and you got 30-day delays, and then 14 years later, there are 68 IGs instead of 17.
And this is part of, I think, I hate this term, so I can't believe I'm going to use it, but the uniparty delusion that the executive branch is not political. The fact is that under the Constitution, if you are in the executive branch, you serve at the pleasure of the president. And while the Supreme Court wants to, have it both ways and try and needle it around, so the Fed is nominally independent and DOJ is nominally independent, we all know that's how the Constitution was written. So the fact is, I'd rather just gut half of these jobs and not replace them than pretend that you can have anyone there who is not a loyalist to someone. Right,
and who do you think? I mean, these 17, the reason that they've drawn attention to themselves because they've been behaving in a political fashion. That's kind of the starting point of the whole discussion.
But then that should be the reason to fire them. But he didn't provide that.
The inspectors general aren't the only ones that are worried right now. The former CIA director John Penitentiary Face Brennan is worried about having Tulsi Gabbard as the director of national intelligence.
When there are National Security Council meetings that the president chairs in the White House Situation Room, usually the first person to speak would be the director of national intelligence and the director of CIA. They lay down the intelligence basis for any type of policy discussion that ensues. And so if that intelligence basis, that briefing, is going to be skewed or is going to be lacking some very important critical information, the policy decision that ultimately comes out of it is also going to be baseless, and also, it's going to be potentially threatening to our national security.
Now, that's Penitentiary Face Brennan, who, of course, was chosen by Barack Obama to be the CIA director. Brennan famously voted for the Communist Party candidate for president of the United States. We should be reminded of that.
You need to write a book about him, Chris.
Every time we see his penitentiary face, we should know that. And he's on MSDNC over there. Barack Obama was mentored by a communist when he was a teenager, picked a communist voter to be CIA director, and he's attacking Tulsi Gabbard. That's another weight on the Tulsi side of the scale.
A politicized national security official, that would be John Brennan. I mean, for crying out loud, he was part of the spreading Russian, basically saying the Hunter laptop was Russian disinformation, skewing our election, pushing propaganda. It's no wonder why they had to get rid of his security clearance, because he cannot be trusted. He is probably one of the most politicized figures that we've seen in national security realm. And quite frankly, it shows that his hatred for President Trump, it's been there for a long time, and he just can't handle it. He just can't handle it. Trump's back in power.
Well, he's Communist Party voter. I foolishly voted for Jimmy Carter once when I was, it was my first vote.
Don't say that out loud.
I know, I've been embarrassed.
But now,
it's part of my penance. I have to say it. I have to say it sometimes. It's part of my make good. But Gus Hall, the Communist Party, and he becomes CIA director because corruptniks are running the show. And then the felonious 51 letter. They should all be at Gitmo.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.